When their spaceship crashed on an alien planet, Alex thought surviving the wreckage was the hardest. Hard until his stepsister began glowing, and her alien nature started taking over. The sound of twisting metal and breaking glass filled the air as their family research ship crashed into the rocky surface of planet Kepler 442b. Alex felt his body slam against the emergency pod's wall as everything went dark. When he opened his eyes, his head was pounding and his vision was blurry. Smoke filled the small emergency pod and red warning lights blinked everywhere. He could hear the hiss of air leaking somewhere nearby. His heart started racing as he realized what had happened. "Luna? Luna, are you okay?" Alex called out, coughing as he tried to sit up. A soft groan came from the corner of the pod. His stepsister was slowly pulling herself up from the floor, holding her head. Even in the dim red light, Alex could see something was different about her. Her normally pale skin had a strange blue tint to it, and there were tiny sparkles under her skin that he had never noticed before. "I'm alive," Luna said quietly, her voice sounding odd and distant. "But something feels wrong." Alex tried to contact their parents through the communication system, but only static came through the speakers. The main ship had broken apart during the crash, and their parents had been in a different section. Fear crept into his chest as he realized they might be alone. "The beacon isn't working," Alex said, checking the emergency systems, "and the communication array is completely fried." Luna stood up slowly, and Alex noticed she was moving differently than usual. She seemed more graceful, but also more careful, like she was concentrating on every movement. The sparkles under her skin were getting brighter. "Alex," she said, turning to face him, "I need to tell you something important about what I am." Alex had always known Luna wasn't completely human. Her mother had been from a species called the Nereids before she married his father. But Luna had always seemed normal to him, just with slightly unusual eyes and pale skin. Now, looking at her in the emergency lighting, he could see her alien heritage was becoming more obvious. "Those patterns on your skin," Alex said, staring at the glowing lines that were slowly appearing across her arms and face. "They're getting brighter." Luna looked down at her hands and sighed deeply. This wasn't supposed to happen for another 2 years. "But this planet, something about this place is triggering changes in my biology." She sat down across from him, and Alex could see she was trying to stay calm, but there was something wild in her eyes that made him nervous. "My species goes through biological cycles," Luna explained slowly. "Every 7 years we experience what humans might call a mating season. But it's not just about finding a partner. It changes how we think, how we act, and how we see the world around us." Alex felt his stomach drop. "And that's happening to you now?" "The electromagnetic field on this planet is unlike anything in our solar system," Luna said, touching the glowing patterns on her arm. "It's accelerating the process. I can feel it starting already." The emergency pod suddenly shook as something heavy hit the outside hull. Both of them froze, listening to scratching sounds moving around their shelter. Through the small window, Alex could see large shadows moving in the alien twilight. "The local wildlife," Alex whispered. "Dad's research said this planet has predators." Luna's head snapped toward the window, and Alex saw her pupils dilate. For just a moment, she looked like a completely different person. More alert, more dangerous, more animal-like. "I can smell them," she said in a voice that didn't sound quite like her own. "3 of them. They're curious about the crash, but they're not hunting yet." "How can you smell them through the pod's air system?" Alex asked, though he was afraid he already knew the answer. Luna blinked, and her expression returned to normal. "The changes are starting faster than I expected. My senses are becoming sharper, stronger." Alex checked the life support systems and felt his heart sink even further. "Luna, we have a bigger problem. The air recycling system took damage in the crash. We have maybe 2 weeks before the oxygen runs out." 2 weeks, Luna repeated quietly. "That's not long enough." "Not long enough for what?" Luna was quiet for a long moment, staring at her hands as the glowing patterns continued to spread. "The biological cycle lasts about a month. During that time, I won't be myself, not completely. I might not remember who you are. I might see you as a threat." The scratching sounds outside stopped suddenly, and everything became eerily quiet. Alex looked through the window but couldn't see the creatures anymore. The silence was somehow worse than the noise had been. "So we're trapped here," Alex said, trying to process everything. "With limited oxygen, no communication, dangerous animals outside, And you're going to go through some kind of biological transformation that might make you dangerous too. I'm sorry, Luna said, and Alex could hear genuine fear in her voice. I should have told you about this before, but I never thought it would happen so soon, and definitely not like this. Alex sat back against the pod's wall and tried to think clearly. He had always been the practical one in their family. While their parents studied alien biology and Luna dealt with her mixed heritage, Alex focused on engineering and problem solving. Now all of those skills would need to work together to keep them alive. Okay, he said finally. Let's figure this out step by step. First, we need to find out if Mom and Dad survived. Then we need to get the communication system working so we can call for help. And we need to do it all while keeping both of us safe from whatever's happening to you. Luna looked at him with surprise. You're not afraid of me? Of course I'm afraid, Alex admitted. But you're my sister. We've gotten through difficult things before, and we'll get through this too. The glowing patterns on Luna's skin pulsed brighter for a moment, and she smiled. It was still her smile, even though everything else about her was changing. The main ship's wreckage is about half a mile from here, Alex said, checking their location on the pod scanner. If Mom and Dad are alive, that's where they'll be. But going out there with those predators around, I can handle the predators, Luna said, and there was something in her voice that made Alex believe her. But Alex, you need to promise me something. If I become too dangerous, if I lose control completely, you have to protect yourself first. Even if that means leaving me behind. Alex shook his head. That's not going to happen. Promise me, Luna insisted, her eyes glowing faintly in the red light. I'm still me right now, but that might not last much longer. And when the time comes, I want to know that at least one of us will survive. Outside the pod, they heard a low howling sound that seemed to come from multiple directions at once. The predators were calling to each other, and Alex realized they were probably organizing for a hunt. We'll both survive, Alex said firmly, but first we need to make it through the night. Alex woke up to the sound of Luna pacing back and forth in the small pod. The night had passed without any attacks from the creatures outside, but something was clearly wrong. The glowing patterns on Luna's skin were much brighter now, covering almost her entire arms and spreading up her neck. How long have you been awake? Alex asked, sitting up and rubbing his eyes. I don't think I slept at all, Luna replied, her voice sounding strangely musical. Every sound outside was so loud. I could hear the creatures moving around us all night. I could even hear their heartbeats. Alex looked at her carefully. Her eyes seemed different too, larger somehow, and they reflected the pod's emergency lighting like an animal's eyes would. She was still his stepsister, but the alien part of her was becoming more obvious with each passing hour. Luna, you need to sit down and rest, Alex said gently. I can't sit still, she replied, continuing to pace. There's this feeling inside me, like electricity running through my whole body. Everything feels too bright, too loud, too intense. Alex pulled out their father's research tablet, which had survived the crash. He spent the next hour reading through files about Nereid biology, while Luna continued her restless movement around the pod. What he found made his stomach twist with worry. According to the research during their biological cycle, Nereids experienced something called the calling. It was described as an overwhelming need to find others of their species. Without that connection, they could become increasingly unstable. Luna, Alex said carefully, Dad's notes say that during this time, your people usually stay together in groups. Being alone can make the symptoms worse. Luna stopped pacing and looked at him. For a moment, her expression was completely blank, like she didn't recognize him. Then she blinked and awareness returned to her eyes. That just happened, didn't it? She asked quietly. I looked at you and for a second I didn't know who you were. Alex nodded, trying to hide his fear. The research says it's normal. But we need to find Mom and Dad soon. Being around family might help you stay grounded. He turned his attention to the pod's damaged communication system. The main transmitter was broken, but maybe he could jury-rig something from the other electronics. As he worked, Luna suddenly grabbed his arm. Something's coming, she whispered. Alex listened but heard nothing. Are you sure? 2 of them. Moving fast. They'll be here in about 30 seconds. Alex quickly grabbed the emergency flare gun from the supply kit. Sure enough, 30 seconds later, 2 large cat-like creatures appeared outside their window. They were unlike anything Alex had ever seen, with 6 legs and metallic-looking fur that seemed to change color. Luna pressed herself against the far wall of the pod. And Alex noticed the patterns on her skin were pulsing rapidly now, almost like a heartbeat made of light. "They're beautiful," Luna said in that musical voice again. "I can sense their emotions. They're curious, not hungry. They want to understand what we are. That's great. But I'd rather they stayed curious from a distance," Alex muttered, keeping the flare gun ready. The creatures circled the pod for several minutes before wandering away. Alex noticed that they seemed particularly interested in the side of the pod where Luna was standing, as if they were drawn to her somehow. The bioluminescent patterns, Alex realized. "They're attracted to your light." Luna looked down at her glowing arms. "It's getting stronger. I can feel it spreading." "Alex, what if I become dangerous to you?" "You won't," Alex said firmly, though he wasn't entirely sure he believed it. "But what if I do? What if I hurt you without meaning to?" Alex thought for a moment, then went to the supply locker and pulled out some emergency restraints. Soft but strong straps designed to secure injured people during transport. "If you feel like you're losing control, we'll use these," he said. "Not to trap you, but to help you remember who you are. Like an anchor." Luna examined the restraints and nodded slowly. "That might work. But Alex, there's something else. The research your dad did. It only covers the basics of what happens to my people during this time. There are things about our biology that humans don't understand." "Like what?" "The healing abilities, for one. If someone is injured, I might be able to help them heal faster. But using those abilities could make the other symptoms much worse." Alex felt a spark of hope. "If Mom and Dad are hurt, you could help them?" "Maybe. But it would mean giving in to the biological changes completely. I might not come back from that." Before Alex could respond, the pod's emergency scanner started beeping frantically. He looked at the display and felt his heart race with excitement and fear. "Life signs," he said. "2 human life signs about half a mile north of here. Mom and Dad," Luna whispered. Alex studied the scanner readings more carefully. "They're in the main section of the ship's wreckage. But Alex, their vital signs are weak. They're alive, but they're not doing well." Luna moved to look over his shoulder, and Alex caught a strange scent from her, like ocean water mixed with something electric. Her alien nature was becoming stronger by the hour. "We have to go to them," Luna said. "Today, before I get worse." Alex looked outside at the alien landscape. The crashed ship was visible in the distance, a twisted mass of metal surrounded by strange blue vegetation. Between their pod and the wreckage, he could see movement. More of the 6-legged creatures and other things he couldn't identify. "It's dangerous out there," Alex said. "And in your condition?" "In my condition, I'm probably the only chance we have of making it across safely," Luna replied. "My senses are sharper now. I can detect the creatures before they detect us. And if we do run into trouble..." She held up her hand, and Alex watched in amazement as the glowing patterns on her skin suddenly flared brighter. The light was so intense that it illuminated the entire pod like a flashlight. "I'm becoming something that can protect us," Luna continued. "But I'm also becoming something that might not remember why protection matters. We need to reach them while I'm still me." Alex spent the next hour preparing for their journey. He packed emergency supplies, medical kit, and tools they might need. Luna practiced controlling the intensity of her bioluminescent display, learning to dim it when stealth was needed. As they prepared to leave the safety of their pod, Alex realized that everything was about to change. The journey to find their parents would either bring their family back together, or it would be the beginning of losing Luna to her alien nature forever. "Ready?" Alex asked, his hand on the pod's door release. Luna took a deep breath, her glowing pattern settling into a steady, soft pulse. "Let's go find our family." The alien air hit their faces as Alex opened the pod door. It was breathable, but it had a strange metallic taste and felt thicker than Earth's atmosphere. Luna stepped out first, her enhanced senses scanning for danger. "3 creatures to our left, about 200 yards away," she whispered. "They're not moving toward us. And something larger to the right, but it feels sleeping." Alex was amazed by how confidently Luna moved across the rocky terrain. Her steps were silent, and she seemed to know exactly where to place her feet to avoid loose stones that might make noise. The alien part of her was definitely taking over, but so far it was helping them. They made it about halfway to the ship's wreckage before running into their first real problem. A deep ravine blocked their path, too wide to jump across and too steep to climb down safely. "We'll have to go around," Alex said, studying their options. "No?" Luna replied, her voice taking on that musical quality again. I can get us across. Before Alex could ask what she meant, Luna picked him up as easily as if he weighed nothing. Her strength had increased dramatically overnight. Luna, what are you doing? Trust me, she said, and then she leaped. They sailed across the ravine in one impossible jump, landing softly on the other side. Alex's heart was pounding as Luna set him down gently. How did you do that? I'm not sure, Luna admitted, looking at her hands with wonder. It felt natural, like I've always been able to do it. My body knows things that my mind doesn't understand yet. As they got closer to the main ship, Alex could see the damage was extensive. The hull was cracked open like an eggshell, and debris was scattered everywhere. But the central cabin area looked intact, and that's where the life signs were coming from. There, Luna pointed to a section of the ship that had landed upright. I can hear heartbeats from inside. They climbed through the wreckage carefully, with Luna leading the way. Her glowing patterns had dimmed to almost nothing, helping them stay hidden from the local wildlife. But Alex noticed she was becoming more tense with each step. Something's wrong, she said suddenly, stopping just outside the cabin section. What is it? The heartbeats I'm hearing, they're too slow. Mom and Dad are hurt badly. Alex felt his stomach drop as they found a way inside the damaged cabin. Their parents were there, alive but unconscious. His mother had a deep cut on her forehead that had stopped bleeding, and his father's leg was bent at an odd angle. Both were breathing, but barely. We need to get them back to the pod, Alex said. The medical supplies there might help. Luna knelt next to their mother and gently touched her forehead. Immediately, the glowing patterns on Luna's skin began to pulse brighter, and Alex watched in amazement as his mother's wound began to close. Luna, you're healing her! I can do more than this, Luna said, her voice sounding distant and otherworldly. I can heal both of them completely. But Alex, if I do this, I might not come back as myself. What do you mean? Using the healing abilities fully means giving myself over to the biological cycle completely. I'll become more alien than human. I might not remember our family bond. I might see you as a stranger or even as a threat. Alex looked at his unconscious parents, then at Luna's glowing face. How long would the healing take? Hours, maybe a full day. And during that time, I'll be in a deep trance, completely vulnerable. You'd have to protect all three of us alone. The weight of the decision hit Alex like a physical blow. Save his parents, but possibly lose his sister forever. Or try to get everyone to safety with limited medical supplies and their parents barely clinging to life. There's something else, Luna continued. When I use the healing abilities, my bioluminescent display becomes much brighter. Every predator on this planet will be drawn to this location. As if to emphasize her point, they heard a howling sound in the distance. Then another answering from a different direction. The local creatures were already becoming more active as the alien day progressed. Alex made his decision quickly. Do it, heal them. I'll find a way to keep us all safe. Luna looked at him with gratitude and fear mixed in her glowing eyes. Alex, I need you to promise me something. If I become too dangerous after this, if I try to hurt any of you, you have to stop me. Whatever it takes. Luna, promise me, she insisted. I'm still your sister right now, and as your sister, I'm asking you to protect our family from what I might become. Alex reluctantly nodded. I promise, but it won't come to that. Luna smiled sadly, then placed her hands on both their parents. The glowing patterns on her skin exploded into brilliant light, so bright that Alex had to look away. The entire damaged cabin was illuminated like the middle of the day. And then Luna's eyes rolled back and she entered the healing trance. Alex watched in fascination and terror as his parents' wounds began to heal visibly. His mother's cut disappeared completely, and his father's broken leg straightened itself with a soft cracking sound. Their breathing became deeper and more regular. But outside, Alex could hear the sounds of creatures responding to Luna's light display. Howls, roars, and other sounds he couldn't identify. Whatever lived on this planet was waking up, and they were all heading toward the bright beacon that Luna had become. Alex quickly began barricading the entrances to the cabin section, using pieces of wreckage and emergency supplies from the ship. He found a working energy weapon in the ship's armory, and checked that it was fully charged. As the first alien sounds grew closer, Alex realized he was about to face the longest night of his life. 3 unconscious family members depending on him, unknown predators closing in from all directions, and no way to know if Luna would still be his sister when she finally woke up. but he had made a promise to keep his family safe, and Alex intended to keep that promise no matter what came through those barricades. The first attack came just after sunset. Alex heard scratching sounds on the hull above him, followed by a low growling that made his skin crawl. Through a gap in his makeshift barricade, he could see glowing eyes reflecting Luna's brilliant light. His parents were still unconscious, but their breathing was stronger now. Luna remained in her healing trance, sitting perfectly still with her hands on their father's chest. The light coming from her skin was so intense that Alex had to wear welding goggles he'd found in the ship's repair kit. A loud bang echoed through the cabin as something heavy hit the outer wall. Then another. The creatures were testing his defenses, looking for weak spots. Alex gripped the energy weapon tighter and checked his ammunition count. He had maybe 50 shots before the weapon would need recharging, and he had no idea how many creatures were out there. Through the ship's damaged sensors, he could detect at least a dozen life forms circling their position. The attacks continued throughout the night. Sometimes it was just scratching and probing. Other times, the creatures would throw their full weight against his barricades, making the entire cabin shake. Alex managed to scare them off a few times by firing warning shots through the gaps, but they always came back. Around midnight, his mother stirred and opened her eyes. "Alex?" she whispered weakly. "What happened? Where are we?" "Mom." Alex felt a huge wave of relief. "You're alive. Luna is healing you and Dad. How do you feel?" His mother tried to sit up and winced. "Like I was hit by a spacecraft," she said with a weak smile. "Is everyone okay?" Alex quickly explained what had happened while keeping watch for more attacks. His mother's face grew worried as she learned about Luna's condition. "The biological cycle," she said quietly. "I helped research this when I first met your father. Alex, when Luna comes out of the healing trance, she might not recognize us immediately. Her instincts will be purely focused on survival and territory." Territory. During the cycle, Nereids become extremely protective of their space and the people they consider family. But their definition of family becomes very narrow. She might see me and your father as intruders. A chill ran down Alex's spine. "But you are family." To her human side, yes. But the alien side of her brain might not understand that relationship. You'll be safe because you've been with her through this whole experience. Your scent, your presence. She'll recognize you as Pac. Another crash against the outer wall interrupted their conversation. This time Alex heard the sound of metal tearing. One of the creatures had found a weak spot in the hull. "Mom, I need you to stay quiet and still," Alex whispered, moving toward the breach with his weapon ready. A sleek, six-legged creature squeezed through the torn metal, its metallic fur shifting colors as it moved. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time, about the size of a large dog but clearly built for hunting. The creature froze when it saw Luna's glowing form, tilting its head like it was trying to understand what she was. Alex held his breath, afraid to move and draw its attention. Then the creature did something unexpected. It lay down on the floor and began making soft chirping sounds, almost like it was trying to communicate. "It's not attacking," Alex whispered to his mother. "Luna's light," his mother replied quietly. "It's not just attracting them. It's calming them somehow." More creatures began squeezing through the breach, but instead of attacking, they arranged themselves in a circle around Luna. They seemed to be protecting her rather than threatening her. "I don't understand," Alex said. His mother watched the creatures carefully. Nereids evolved on a world with dangerous predators. Their bioluminescent displays weren't just for communication, they were for forming temporary alliances with local wildlife. Luna is unconsciously creating a bond with these creatures. As if to prove her point, one of the larger creatures moved closer to Alex and sniffed him carefully. When it caught Luna's scent on his clothes, it made a soft rumbling sound and moved away peacefully. They recognized me as part of Luna's pack, Alex realized. For the next few hours, the cabin became a strange gathering place. More creatures entered, but none of them showed any aggression. They seemed content to simply be near Luna's healing light. Alex found himself relaxing for the first time since the crash. His father woke up around dawn, confused but much stronger than before. Alex helped him sit up while explaining the situation. "Incredible," his father said, watching the alien creatures. "Luna is creating an interspecies pack bond. I've never seen anything like this in my research." "Dad, there's something else," Alex said. "Mom says Luna might not recognize you and her as family when she wakes up." His father nodded grimly. The cycle makes them territorial. We'll need to be very careful how we approach her. As the alien sun rose, Luna's glowing began to fade slightly. The creatures sensed the change and started moving restlessly. Some of them left through the breach while others settled down for what seemed like sleep. She's coming out of the trance, Alex's mother observed. Luna's eyes fluttered open, but they weren't the same eyes Alex remembered. They glowed with an inner light, and when she looked around the cabin, her gaze was sharp and predatory. She stood up slowly, and Alex could see that her transformation was now complete. The bioluminescent patterns covered her entire body, and she moved with fluid grace that was definitely not human. Luna's glowing eyes fixed on Alex first, and her expression softened slightly. She made a soft clicking sound that seemed friendly. Then she noticed his parents. Immediately, Luna's posture changed. Her patterns flared brighter, and she moved between Alex and his parents like she was protecting him from a threat. "Luna," Alex said carefully. "These are our parents. They're family." Luna tilted her head, studying the two humans behind Alex. She made a series of clicking and chirping sounds, almost like she was asking a question. "I don't think she understands," his father said quietly. Alex remembered something Luna had told him before the healing began. She had said she might not remember their family bond, but she would remember him because he had been with her throughout the crisis. "Luna," Alex said, stepping slowly toward his parents. "They're mine. They belong to me, just like I belong to you." Luna watched his movements carefully. When Alex reached his parents and put his arms around them, she seemed to understand. The bright warning display on her skin dimmed to a softer glow. She approached slowly and sniffed both of his parents carefully. Then she made a different sound, lower and more musical. She gently touched his mother's forehead, then his father's hand. "I think she's accepting them," Alex's mother whispered. Luna looked at Alex and made a complex series of sounds. To his amazement, Alex found that he almost understood what she was trying to communicate. "She's asking if we're ready to leave," he said. "She wants to get us somewhere safer." His father checked the ship's scanner. "There's a rescue beacon activated about 10 miles from here. If we can reach it, we can call for pickup." Luna nodded when Alex explained this to her, then moved to the breach in the hull. The remaining creatures parted to let her pass, and she called back to the humans with an urgent sound. "She wants us to follow her now," Alex translated, "while her new friends are still protecting us." As they prepared to leave the crashed ship, Alex realized that their family had been forever changed by this experience. Luna was no longer just his stepsister. She had become something new, something that bridged the gap between human and alien. But she was still family, and that was what mattered most. The journey to the rescue beacon took most of the day, but it was unlike anything Alex could have imagined. Luna led them through the alien landscape with perfect confidence, and their strange escort of local creatures cleared the path ahead of any real dangers. Alex's parents were amazed by Luna's transformation, but they were also worried. She communicated mainly through clicks, chirps, and musical sounds now. And while Alex was getting better at understanding her, it was clear that the human language was becoming difficult for her. "Is this permanent?" Alex asked his mother as they rested near a strange blue stream. "I don't know," she admitted. "The research on Nereid biology is limited. Most of what we know comes from Luna's mother, and she died when Luna was very young. Luna was crouched by the stream, her glowing patterns reflecting in the water. She had been drinking frequently during their journey, and Alex noticed that the patterns on her skin seemed brighter and more complex near water. "She's homesick," his father observed. "Nereids are aquatic people. Being on a dry planet like this is probably uncomfortable for her." Alex walked over to sit beside Luna by the stream. She looked at him and made a soft trilling sound that somehow conveyed both happiness and sadness. "I know you want to go home," Alex said quietly. "We all do." Luna reached out and touched his hand. For a moment, her touch felt electric, and Alex could swear he sensed her emotions directly. Gratitude, love, and a deep tiredness that came from fighting to maintain control over her changing nature. "Alex," she said suddenly, her voice hoarse and strange. "Still, meet inside." It was the first human word she had spoken since waking from the healing trance. Alex felt tears of relief in his eyes. "I know," he said. "You're still my sister." Luna smiled, and for a moment she looked almost like her old self. "Family, important, you." taught me." Their conversation was interrupted by a loud humming sound from above. A rescue ship was descending from the sky, having detected the beacon signal. The local creatures scattered at the noise, but Luna called to them in her musical language, and they stopped at the edge of the clearing watching. The rescue team was efficient and professional. They quickly assessed everyone's condition and prepared them for transport. But they seemed nervous around Luna, especially when they saw her glowing patterns and the alien creatures that maintained a respectful distance. "Is she safe to transport?" the team leader asked Alex's parents. "She's family," Alex said firmly before anyone else could answer. "She saved our lives." During the flight back to their research station, Luna sat quietly, staring out the window at the planet below. Alex could see that leaving was difficult for her. In just a few days, this alien world had become connected to her transformation in a way that made it feel like home. "The creatures," Luna said softly, speaking human words with obvious effort. "They understood me. First time, felt normal." Alex's mother reached over and took Luna's glowing hand. "You're normal, honey. You're just normal in a way that most humans haven't learned to understand yet." Back at the research station, the medical team ran extensive tests on all of them. Alex's parents had been completely healed by Luna's abilities, with no sign of their previous injuries. But Luna's biology had changed significantly. "The transformation seems stable," the doctor reported. "Her alien characteristics have become more pronounced, but her vital signs are strong. The bioluminescent patterns appear to be permanent now." "What about her mental state?" Alex asked. "That's harder to assess. She's clearly maintaining her human memories and emotional connections, but her thought patterns have changed. She processes information differently now." Over the following weeks, Alex watched his sister adapt to her new nature. She learned to control her glowing patterns, dimming them in social situations and brightening them when she was happy or excited. She also discovered that she could still speak human languages, but it required conscious effort. The most amazing discovery came when Luna began working with the research team to study interspecies communication. Her experience with the alien creatures had given her insights that no human scientist had ever achieved. "During the cycle," Luna explained to a group of researchers, "I could sense their emotions directly. Fear, curiosity, protectiveness. It wasn't telepathy exactly, but something deeper, a recognition of shared needs and feelings." Her work opened up entirely new fields of study. Other research teams began requesting Luna's assistance with alien contact situations, and she found purpose in helping humans understand non-human intelligence. But the best moments for Alex were the quiet times when Luna would practice her human speech with him, or when she would dim her patterns to almost nothing, and they could just be brother and sister again. "Do you ever regret what happened?" Alex asked her one evening as they watched the sunset from the station's observation deck. Luna considered the question carefully. "Regret is human concept," she said slowly. "I'm sad for the person I was before, but I am grateful for who I became. And I'm grateful that you stayed with me through the change." "Of course I stayed. Your family." "Yes," Luna said, her patterns pulsing with warm golden light. "Family is not constant, even when everything else changes." A few months later, Alex's family received permission to return to Earth. Luna was nervous about how people would react to her transformation, but Alex promised to help her navigate human society. On their last night at the research station, Luna did something she had never done before. She showed Alex how to achieve a basic telepathic connection with her, touching his forehead while her patterns glowed softly. For just a moment, Alex experienced the world through Luna's enhanced senses. He could feel the emotions of every person in the station, hear sounds across an impossible range of frequencies, and sense the subtle electromagnetic fields that surrounded all living things. "This is how you experience everything now?" Alex asked, amazed. "Every moment," Luna replied. "It was overwhelming at first, but now it feels like coming home to myself." When they finally returned to Earth, Luna worked with universities and research institutes to develop new approaches to alien contact. Her unique perspective as someone who is both human and alien made her invaluable to the scientific community. But more importantly, she remained Alex's sister. Their shared experience on Kepler 442b had created a bond that went beyond normal family relationships. They had learned that family wasn't just about blood or genetics. It was about choosing to stay together through impossible circumstances. Years later, When Luna had become a leading expert in interspecies communication, and Alex had followed his parents into xenobiology research, they would still talk about those days on the alien planet. The crisis that had threatened to tear their family apart had ultimately made them stronger. Luna learned to live as both human and alien, finding balance between her two natures, and Alex learned that loving someone sometimes meant accepting them as they became, not just as they were. Their family had been transformed by the experience, but they had discovered that some bonds are strong enough to survive any change, on any world, under any circumstances.